Once upon a time, in a sunny town in Florida, there lived a man named Carlos. He was quiet, contemplative man, known for his love of books, philosophy and politics, and the little coffee shop he owned at the town's corner. His life was simple and predictable until one day everything changed. Carlos had been married to Greta for 10 years. Their marriage, while peaceful, lacked the spark it once had. One afternoon, Carlos came home early to surprise Greta with her favorite flowers, tulips, only to find her in the arms of another man. The man was tall, towering over Carlos with a broad, strong frame that made him seem almost larger than life, with skin as smooth and dark as polished ebony, and a smile that could light up the dimmest of rooms. His name was Darnell. Heartbroken, Carlos left without a word, wandering aimlessly until he found himself at a park bench under the palm trees. Carlos, who had held prejudiced views for much of his life, found himself grappling not only with betrayal, but also with the stark reality of his own biases. Days turned into weeks, and though he tried to confront his emotions, Carlos couldn't shake the image of Darner's kind smile from his mind. To his own astonishment, his initial anger and betrayal began to transform into curiosity, and then something deeper. Carlos also struggled with a deep internal conflict, hating his own flesh for a time because of the of the feelings he was developing for Darnell, feelings that challenged everything he thought he knew about himself. Meanwhile, Darnell had been feeling the weight of guilt. Greta had admitted that her marriage was struggling, but meeting Carol in such a context left Darnell questioning his choices. He decided to visit Carol's coffee shop, hoping to apologize and perhaps make amends. When Darnell walked through the door, Carolus froze. Their eyes met, and in that moment there was an unspoken understanding between them. Darnell stammered an apology, but Carolus simply waved him over to a table. "Let's talk," he said, his voice steady but his heart racing. Before their in-person meetings, Carlos and Darnell had been online friends in a politics and philosophy forum, where Darnell went by the nickname Poconot. They often exchanged long messages debating philosophical ideas and discussing politics, though they still ended up talking about jazz sometimes. Carlos had admired Poconot's sharp insights and humor but never knew the man behind the username. Discovering that Darnell was his old online confidant added another layer of connection and serendipity to their budding friendship. Over the next few weeks, their conversations moved from awkward pleasantries to meaningful discussions. Carlos learned about Darnell's passion for music and his dreams of opening a jazz bar. He also discovered Darnell's love for basketball, which added a playful, energetic side to the man Carlos found himself drawn to. Darnell, in turn, was drawn to Carlos's intellect and will, particularly his deep knowledge of philosophy and politics. Their connection deepened, and soon their meetings weren't just about coffee but about discovering each other. One rainy evening, as they walked along the sandy streets under a shared umbrella, Carlos found the courage to speak his truth. "Darnell, I never expected this, but I think I'm falling for you. And it hasn't been easy for me to accept. For a long time, I hated my flesh for feeling this way. But I can't fight it anymore. Darnell stopped in his tracks, his heart pounding. He reached for Carlos's hand. Carlos, thank you for telling me. It means everything, and you should know. I've been feeling the same way. They stood there, rain falling around them, and shared their first kiss. Their relationship wasn't without challenges. The small town had its share of gossip, and both men had to navigate their own fears and insecurities. Greta, surprisingly, became one of their biggest supporters, admitting that she and Carlos were never meant to be, and that she was happy he'd found someone who truly made him come alive. A year later, under the same sprawling palm trees, where Carlos had once sat in despair, they exchanged vows in a beautiful outdoor ceremony. Friends and family gathered to celebrate their union, and a jazz band played a soulful tune as the couple shared their first dance. Carlos and Darnell's love story became a testament to the power of forgiveness, unexpected connections, and the courage to follow one's heart. And so, they lived happily ever after, turning Carlos's coffee shop into a coffee and has haven where love, laughter, and music filled the air.